All right, let's jump right into a story that is just fascinating. It sits right at that crossroads between ancient mysticism and, hard, cutting-edge science. We're going to look at a discovery that honestly, it might just rewrite what you thought was even possible about our own history.
So it all starts with this one simple, kind of powerful fact. The giant star at the center of our solar system, it's not silent, not at all. It sings, it hums, it resonates with this constant, deep vibration. And look, this isn't some kind of abstract theory. In 2018, after years and years of research, NASA actually released the audible sound of our sun. They captured it with solar observation satellites. I mean, what a breakthrough. But here it is. This is the central mystery we're diving into. What if this brand new, shiny discovery wasn't new at all? What if ancient people knew about this solar hum? And not just vaguely, but with incredible, almost scientific precision, thousands of years before we even thought about launching a satellite. Okay, so first things first. Let's get our feet on the ground with the modern science. What exactly did NASA and scientists at Stanford actually uncover?
The field has this really cool name, Helioseismology. The easiest way to think about it is, it's like studying earthquakes to figure out what the Earth's core is like. But instead of seismic waves, scientists are using sound waves, these acoustic vibrations, to literally map the inside of the sun.
And the scale of what they found is it's mind-blowing. Scientists figured out that the entire surface of the sun is oscillating, vibrating in these really precise rhythmic patterns. It's basically acting like a giant speaker, pushing out these incredibly deep sound waves. Now, this is a type of infrasound, way too low for our ears to pick up on their own. So what NASA's team did was they converted them. They sped them up millions of times until they finally entered our hearing range, letting us, for the first time ever, hear our star's song.
So with that in mind, let's rewind the clock. I mean, way, way back. Because while NASA was celebrating this amazing discovery, scholars of ancient Sanskrit were kind of raising their hands, pointing to a very old text that seemed to describe the exact same thing.
And this is the paradox, right? The Samaveda, which literally means the Veda of chants, was written down over 3,000 years ago. The descriptions in this text of a cosmic sound predate our modern scientific proof by millennia. It's a huge gap in time.
And we're not talking about some vague poetic reference here. The parallels are specific, and frankly, they're startling. The Vedas talk about a cosmic sound they call or Om, which they say is the fundamental frequency of the sun. They describe it as the engine that keeps the cosmos in order. Now fast forward to today, and what do we know? We know that solar sound waves create pressure waves that ripple across the solar system and actually influence the magnetic fields of the planets. It's pretty close.
But the connection is about to get even more specific, and this is where it gets a little spooky. It all comes down to a single number. 136.1 hertz. Just burn that number into your brain. It is the key to this whole puzzle.
Okay, so here's the kicker. Back in 1978, a Swiss mathematician named Hans Kusto used ancient Vedic formulas based on the Earth's orbit, to calculate what the audible frequency of this cosmic ohm would be. And the number he landed on was 136.1 hertz. Now fast forward 40 years. NASA releases their recordings. Independent researchers analyze all that data, and what was the predominant fundamental frequency they found? You guessed it, 136.1 hertz. It was an exact match.
But wait, it goes even deeper. The Vedas didn't just talk about one sound, they described 7 primary frequencies coming from the sun, and they said these frequencies formed a musical harmonic scale. Well, guess what? In 2020, modern helioseismology confirmed that, the sun has 7 major acoustic modes, and their frequencies relate to each other in what is, musically speaking, a perfect harmonic series.
So all of this data, all of these coincidences, they lead to one massive, just unsolvable question that hangs over everything. How? Seriously, how could an ancient civilization, with none of our modern technology, detect and analyze sound waves that are physically impossible for a human ear to even hear?
I mean, let's just be really clear about what it takes to do this today. You need satellites watching the sun. You need specialized infrasound microphones just to register the vibrations. You need spectrum analyzers to isolate the frequencies, and you need super powerful computers to process everything. None of that existed 3,000 years ago, not even close.
So what was their explanation? Well, if you look at the Vedic texts themselves, they say the knowledge didn't come from technology. It came from inside. They claim that through deep meditative practices, human consciousness could be refined to a point where it literally becomes sensitive to these cosmic vibrations directly. Now, I know that might sound like pure mysticism, right? Except, in 2015, researchers at the University of California stumbled onto something fascinating. They found that these really deep meditative states can actually change a person's brainwave patterns, causing them to sync up with extremely low-frequency electromagnetic waves. The exact same frequency range as the sun's own vibrations. So suddenly, you have a potential biological mechanism for this ancient claim.
And what's really wild is that this wasn't just happening in ancient India. It seems to be part of a much larger, maybe forgotten piece of human history.
When you start looking at other ancient cultures, you find these little echoes of the very same idea. Ancient Egyptian texts talk about the voice of Ra. Aboriginal Australian Dreamtime stories mention the sun song. Mayan astronomical records even seem to reference solar sound cycles. We're talking about multiple civilizations, separated by oceans and thousands of years, all pointing to the same strange phenomenon.
So that really only leaves us with two possibilities, right? Either all of these ancient cultures, all over the world, independently hallucinated the exact same scientifically accurate data about helioseismology, or they had access to some kind of knowledge that our current understanding of history just cannot explain.
And that really is the big takeaway here. Modern science has confirmed the what. The sun makes a sound, it has specific frequencies, it works on a harmonic scale. The Veda texts were astoundingly correct. So the real question we're left with isn't if they were right, it's how. And until we can answer that, we're missing something truly fundamental about our own past.